CPU is an abbreviation and the full form is Central Processing Unit. Okay, so this is the full form of CPU. Now what is CPU? What will be the definition? The definition is, it is an essential part. It is an essential part, not auxiliary part, essential part of a computer system that executes data and instructions. Okay, instructions to produce output. Okay, this is the first line of definition. You have to add more. It runs the operating system, OS means operating system, including the operations of various peripheral devices. Okay. Peripheral devices means you already know, the auxiliary devices that are not the essential part of computer system. So this is the definition of CPU. Now you often hear about a term microprocessor. So what is microprocessor? Microprocessor is nothing but a fundamental unit of CPU. Okay, so the definition, if you are asked, you will write, it is an electronic component that incorporates the functions of a CPU. Now a CPU consists of three main components. Okay, number one is ALU. ALU stands for arithmetic logic unit. Second one is CU. CU means control unit, and third one is MU, means memory unit. Now we'll discuss about ALU in detail. ALU means arithmetic logic unit. Okay, so this ALU, arithmetic logic unit, is actually divided into two subsections. Okay, number one is arithmetical section, and second one is logical section. Now what is the function of arithmetical section? The function of arithmetical section is to perform arithmetical operations. Now arithmetical operation means, you already know, it can be addition, it can be subtraction, it can be multiplication, or it can be division, isn't it? And all complex operations are performed by making repetitive use of these operations, and that are performed in arithmetical section. Now what is the function of logical section? Logical section actually perform logical operations like comparing between two values. Suppose 6 and 8, there are two values. Then if I write whether 6 greater than 8 or not, here 6 greater than 8, it will say no. As you can see here, it will say no. And after that, if I write 16 and 16 greater than 10, so here 16 is greater than 10 or not, it is checking, so you will tell yes. So these are the operations that are performed in logical sections. Okay, these are not for arithmetical operation like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Okay, these are not for arithmetical operation, these are for logical operations. And also some other operation like selecting something, matching, or merging of data, that are also included in logical sections. So these tasks are also performed in logical section. Now we will learn control unit or CU in detail. So we can write this unit is responsible for controlling the transfer of data and instructions among other units of a computer system. Okay, so this is the definition. So control unit actually controls other operations of a computer system. Okay, operations for other units inside a computer system. Now you need to remember something about control unit. Okay, so I'm writing the points. Number 1, it obtains data and instructions from the main memory. After that, interprets them, okay, that means decodes them, and directs the computer's memory, ALU, and other peripheral devices how to respond to the instructions that they receive. Okay, so control units actually directs all other parts of a computer system how to respond to the instruction that they receive. And another important thing about control unit, that though control unit instructs other units of a computer system, it does not store or execute data. Now we will discuss about memory unit or MU. Now you just think once that the data and instructions which are entered into the computer system through input device have to be stored inside the computer before processing, isn't it? So where they will be stored? So they will be stored in the memory unit of the CPU. Okay, so they will be stored in the memory unit of the CPU. And you need to remember some points about this memory unit also. that it is also a part of main memory. So it is a part of the main memory. Okay, and the function of memory unit is it temporarily stores all the data and instructions required for processing. Okay, another function, it temporarily stores the intermediate results of processing. The intermediate results of processing also temporarily stored in memory unit. Next one, it temporarily stores the final result of processing before the output is released to an output device. Okay, and another point you should remember about this, that all inputs and outputs are transmitted through this memory unit. Okay, this memory unit is also known as RAM. Okay, this memory unit is known as RAM. RAM means random access memory, which we will learn in the later part of this lesson. Okay, so you can see in memory unit, whatever is stored, that are stored temporarily. Okay, and that are required, the instructions which are required for processing, the intermediate results and the processed results are also stored temporarily before getting released to an output device. And now we will draw the diagram of the CPU, and most of the students find it very difficult to draw it, but there is a way to do it. Trust me, it is very easy, but before that you need to understand the working of the CPU, and then only you can draw it with ease. So to draw this diagram, at first you need to draw these labels. You can see input unit, this box input unit, here output unit, means some output devices, and here some input devices, and this is the segment of CPU, and in CPU ALU, MU and CU, all three are contained. So this is CPU. Now we need to place some arrows for the connection, and in this diagram we will use two types of arrow. One arrow, I am writing here, one arrow that is single headed arrow, that is known as data flow arrow, which will indicate data flow, and another arrow that is double headed dotted line arrow, will denote control flow. Okay, so these two we will apply in this diagram. So at first, data are given through the input unit to the memory unit of CPU. So we will place a single-headed arrow from input unit to the memory unit. So now the control unit fetches this instruction. Control unit fetches this instruction from the MU. So the arrow will be from MU to the control unit. Now what happens? This control unit decodes the instruction and decides what to do, and then transfer this instruction to the ALU for processing. So an arrow will be from CU to ALU. CU to ALU. Is that clear? After that, so the instruction is in ALU now. Now ALU performs arithmetical and logical operations and store the result temporarily in MU. So the instruction will come from ALU to MU. Okay, so an arrow is drawn from ALU to MU as the instructions are coming getting stored temporarily from ALU to MU. So now the stored result are passed to the output unit. So from MU, one arrow will be to the output unit. Okay, so this is the end of placing single-headed arrow. That means the data flow is completed from input to output unit. Okay, and you can see that this is the data, the arrow for data that started from input unit and ends at output unit. And when it reaches to the output unit, then output unit produce that data in form of processed data in form of information. Okay, now we will place this double-headed dotted line arrow. Now you can see all these operations are controlled by the control unit of the CPU. So we will place a double-headed dotted line arrow in between every unit of the computer system and CPU. Okay, so let's do it. One double-headed arrow from input unit to the control unit, as input unit are controlled by the control unit of CPU. One double-headed arrow will be from the control unit to the output unit. Okay, one double-headed arrow from the control unit in between control unit and memory unit. One double-headed arrow in between ALU and CU, because ALU is also controlled by CU. Okay, so this is the way to draw the diagram of CPU, and as you can see, it is very easy. Now we will see the main functions of a CPU at a glance. So number one, it stores data and instructions. It stores data and instructions in memory, which can be accessed for processing. So this one is done by which part of the CPU? Obviously memory unit. Okay, now number 2. It executes data and instructions to produce output in form of meaningful result. Okay, and this function is performed by ALU or arithmetic logic unit of CPU. And the last one, number 3, it controls the transfer of data and instructions among other units of a computer system. Among other units of a computer system, including peripheral devices like keyboard, mouse, printer. Okay, and this function is performed by the control unit or CU of the CPU.